Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to deal with the causes of biodiversity loss. Let's move on. You know that in the recent past there has been a sudden spike in the species extinction rates, and these increased species extinction rates they are believed to be directly or indirectly related to human activities, and usually four major causes are there. Which are attributed to have resulted in tremendous loss of biodiversity, and these four factors or causes they are in ecological terms known as the evil quartet. Okay, this is the popular name for these four causes or factors. First of all, habitat loss and fragmentation. Before discussing habitat loss and fragmentation, I will tell you what is the difference between habitat loss and fragmentation. Habitat loss means the habitat is lost in entirety. Okay, all the habitat is lost, and this occurs by deforestation. This occurs by developmental activities, for example construction of dams, construction of power projects. By these agencies the habitat is lost in entirety. Okay, while as habitat fragmentation means you have a large habitat, and this large habitat has been broken down into small fragments. This is known as habitat fragmentation. Okay, both habitat loss and habitat fragmentation they are believed to be the most important factors that have driven a large number of plants and animals to extinction, and the dramatic examples of habitat loss comes from the tropical rainforests, and these tropical rainforests they are being cut at an alarming rate. And in the past, the tropical rainforests which used to cover some 14% of the earth's surface, they have now been reduced to 6%. Okay, the Amazon rainforests, which are known as the lungs of the planet Earth because they are huge in size and they contain millions of species, they are being cut for cultivating soybeans and conversion to grasslands for raising cattle. Okay, and besides habitat loss, the degradation of habitats may take place by pollution, and this pollution also threatens the survival of many species. For example, you have an industrial sector in an area. Okay, you have an industry in an area where you have immense biodiversity, and because of the pollution caused due to industry, the species living in the surroundings they are affected. Okay, and they face a threat to their survival and existence. And I have already told you what habitat fragmentation means. Habitat fragmentation means you have a large area, and this large area is broken down into small fragments due to developmental activities, for example construction of railway lines, roads. Okay, and once habitat fragmentation takes place, you have small areas. Now the population has been reduced to small populations. Okay, and you know that the small populations they are more prone to extinction. Some mammals and birds they require large territories to reproduce, and once the large territories have been broken down into small fragments, they fail to reproduce, and hence extinction is likely. Okay, I will repeat. Habitat fragmentation means the breakdown of large habitat into small areas, small fragments, and once the small fragments are created, the species living there they do not find it stable to reproduce, and hence extinction is likely. The second one is overexploitation. The humans, they directly or indirectly depend on nature for food and shelter, but unfortunately, they have used this biodiversity in an unsustainable way, and this unsustainable use of biodiversity has led to their overexploitation and hence extinction. Okay, I can say that the humans they need biodiversity, but this need has now been turned into greed. Okay, we do not use the biodiversity sustainably, but we use it in an unsustainable way, and because of this unsustainable use of biodiversity, many species of animals and plants they have been thrown to extinction. For example, you have the Steelers sea cow. It has been overexploited and now it is extinct. You have this passenger pigeon. It has been overexploited by human beings and now it is not present on the planet Earth. That means it is extinct. Okay. And besides this, many marine fish populations around the world they are being over harvested, and this over harvesting of fish species it is endangering the existence of some commercially important species of fish. Now you have alien species invasions. The deliberate or unintentional introduction of a species to an area where it was not previously found. Okay, this is known as alien species invasion. Or simply stated, the introduction and the establishment of a species in an area where it was not previously found. This is known as alien species invasion. And because of alien species invasion, our native or indigenous species, they are declining, or in some cases some indigenous species or native species, they have been driven to extinction. Okay, here I will tell you, you have a new species here in this area. Okay, and this new species, once it reaches this new area, it becomes super abundant, it becomes highly abundant, and once it becomes highly abundant, it starts competing with our indigenous or native species and drives this species to extinction. Okay, so simply you can remember, alien species invasion means the introduction and establishment of a species in an area where it was not previously found. This is known as alien species invasion. And because of alien species invasion, many of our native species, they have been driven to extinction. Example is the introduction of Nile perch into Lake Victoria in East Africa. It has caused the extinction of more than 200 species of Seychelles fish. Okay, when this Nile perch was introduced into Lake Victoria in Africa, almost 200 species of Seychelles fish species got extinct. Okay, this is Nile perch. You have some other examples. For example, some invasive weeds like carrot grass, which is known as Parthenium, lantana, and water hyacinth. They are known to cause environmental damage, and besides causing environmental damage, they pose tremendous threat to our native species. Okay, all these three species, they have been introduced from somewhere else into our country. Okay, for example, you have lantana, you have this Parthenium. These two species, they have invaded the terrestrial habitats. Okay, and because of their strong competitive ability, they are driving our native species to extinction. And same is the case with water hyacinth ecornia. This has been introduced into the aquatic habitats, and besides damaging our aquatic habitats, it has resulted in loss of our native species. Okay, and besides this, the recent illegal introduction of the South African catfish Clarius gariepinus for aquaculture purposes, it is posing threat to the indigenous catfishes in our rivers. The African catfish, which was introduced into our country for aquaculture purposes, somehow it find it is a way into the river systems, and in the river systems now it is posing a severe threat to the catfishes. Okay, and finally you have co-extinctions. You know that the species, they are dependent upon each other for their existence, and when a species becomes extinct, the other species which is associated with it in an obligatory way, it also becomes extinct. That means if you are having two species and these two species are dependent upon each other in an obligatory way, when this A species is removed, the species B which depends on this species A, it is also going to extinct. Okay, example, the extinction of a host fish species, for example, it can lead to the extinction of its unique assemblage of parasites. If you are having a fish species and if you remove this fish species, it becomes extinct. The numerous parasites that are associated with this fish species, they are going to get extinct. Okay, and another example, which is the most important example, is the case of a co-evolved plant pollinator mutualism. You know that the plants and pollinators, they mutually benefit each other, and once a plant becomes extinct, the pollinator that depends on this plant, that also becomes extinct. Or if a pollinator is removed from a habitat, from an environment, the plant that depends on that pollinator for pollination, that too is going to get extinct, okay, because uh, it cannot reproduce successfully, okay. This is all for today, and in the next class inshallah we will start with the next part. Till then, god bless you and thank you.